One man can see everything happening in the universe simultaneously. The other man copied over 1,000 jutsu just by watching them once. Today we are settling one of the most debated matchups in anime history. Satoru Gojo versus Kakashi Hatake. Two of the most iconic sensei figures ever written. Two completely different power systems. One winner. This debate comes up constantly in the anime community, and for good reason. Both characters occupy the same narrative role in their respective series. The impossibly talented teacher. The strongest person in the room, who somehow makes everyone around them better. But narratively similar does not mean equally powerful. And when you actually put these two characters side by side, and compare what they can physically and tactically do, the gap between them is larger than most people want to admit. We are going to break this down properly. Kakashi's full case first, then Gojo's full case, then the honest verdict. Kakashi's case. Why he is a legitimate top tier. Let us give Kakashi the respect he genuinely deserves before anything else, because his resume is staggering. Kakashi Hatake became a jonin at 13 years old. He copied over 1,000 jutsu using his Sharingan, earning the title Copy Ninja, a feat that required watching techniques only once and immediately understanding their mechanics well enough to replicate them. He mastered lightning release to a level that let him develop Chidori entirely from scratch, a technique later refined into the Raikiri powerful enough to physically pierce through objects with almost no resistance. By the time of the Fourth Shinobi World War, Kakashi is operating at Kage level, a designation that puts him in the conversation with the single strongest ninja in any given village. His Kamui, specifically the ability to phase himself and targeted objects into another dimension, is one of the most uniquely broken defensive abilities in the entire Naruto universe. Intangibility used correctly makes physical attacks completely irrelevant, and Kakashi demonstrated this ability against some of the most powerful opponents in the war arc. During the war he also briefly receives the full power of the Six Paths Chakra, and both Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan eyes simultaneously, briefly pushing his output to a level that let him casually one-shot large-scale targets with perfect Susanoo. His tactical intelligence is arguably his most dangerous quality of all. Kakashi is consistently shown outthinking opponents who outpower him on paper, reading battle situations in real time, and adjusting faster than almost anyone else in his series. On paper, Kakashi Hatake is a genuine elite by any reasonable standard. Crossed Swords Gojo's case. Why this is not actually close. Now let us talk about Satoru Gojo. Gojo's baseline ability is the Infinity, a passive technique that automatically slows down anything approaching him to an asymptotic crawl, meaning attacks never actually reach him because the space between his body and any incoming threat is always subdivided into smaller and smaller fractions of distance. This is always active. He does not turn it on during combat. It is simply on, permanently, as a default state of his existence. To even touch Gojo you need to either operate at a cursed energy output powerful enough to forcibly overwrite the Infinity itself, which almost nothing in his universe can do, or you need a technique specifically designed to bypass it. A kunai thrown at Gojo does not slow down and then stop. It slows down and approaches forever without ever arriving. His red and blue techniques manipulate the fundamental forces of attraction and repulsion at a conceptual level. His hollow purple, the combination of both, erases everything in its path from existence entirely. Not destroys. Not damages. Removes from reality. But the ability that puts this conversation completely out of reach is limitless combined with the six eyes. Gojo does not simply use space manipulation as a combat tool. He perceives and processes information at a speed so far beyond normal human cognition that, during his fight against Toji Fushiguro in the flashback arc, he is described as calculating and recalculating the optimal infinity adjustments thousands of times per second, automatically, without conscious effort. His brain processes the entire battlefield at a speed that makes most opponents feel like they are moving in slow motion from his perspective. And then there is Unlimited Void, his domain expansion. The moment this activates, anyone trapped inside it receives every piece of information in the universe simultaneously, instantly overloading their nervous system, and rendering them completely non-functional, without Gojo needing to physically touch them at all. The Sharingan can copy jutsu. It cannot copy a technique that operates at the level of physics itself. Kamui's intangibility is genuinely impressive, but Gojo's infinity does not need to chase Kakashi through dimensions. If Kakashi cannot produce enough cursed energy output to force through the infinity, and he cannot because his power system does not generate cursed energy at all, he never lands a single hit in this entire fight. Crossed swords. The honest verdict. Here is the honest breakdown. Kakashi's greatest strength, tactical intelligence and adaptability, works best when he has something to adapt to. Against an opponent where his attacks are physically incapable of reaching their target, his tactical options narrow dramatically. Kamui could potentially remove Gojo's body parts by phasing them away, and that is genuinely Kakashi's best angle in this fight, since Kamui bypasses physical contact entirely and could theoretically interact with Gojo's form in ways raw attacks cannot. But here is the problem. Gojo's 6 eyes give him the processing speed to recognize Kamui's activation pattern before it completes. Gojo has shown the ability to react to and counter techniques mid-execution against some of the most powerful sorcerers in his universe. Kakashi's window to use Kamui effectively before Gojo identifies and counters it is extremely narrow. And the moment Gojo opens his domain expansion, the fight is simply over. There is no counter Kakashi possesses for unlimited void. Infinite information overload does not care how good your reflexes are. Kakashi wins this fight in the small number of scenarios where Kamui lands before Gojo fully reads his intentions, which is a real possibility given Kakashi's tactical speed. But in a straightforward engagement, Gojo's passive defenses, processing speed, and domain expansion create a set of problems Kakashi's toolkit does not have answers for. Gojo wins. Not easily on a narrative level, because Kakashi is a genuinely elite fighter, but comfortably on a mechanical level, because the gap between their respective power ceilings is significant. So there is the full breakdown. Kakashi is one of the most tactically brilliant and genuinely elite fighters in anime history, and his Kamui gives him a real, meaningful angle in this fight that should not be dismissed. But Gojo's passive infinity, his 6 eyes processing speed, and his domain expansion create a combination of problems that Kakashi's power system simply was not built to answer cleanly. In most scenarios, Gojo wins. In the specific scenario where Kakashi lands Kamui before Gojo fully reads him, it gets interesting. Do you agree? Or do you think Kakashi's Kamui is actually the answer that changes everything here? Drop your take in the comments. Subscribe for more anime versus breakdowns every day. I'll see you in the next one.